everyone, and welcome to another video from Mario Hunters. Today, we're going to be cleaning the NES Classic controller. This is the first controller issued with the Nintendo Entertainment System, circa 1985. In this video, we're going to be going over how to take apart and clean the inside of the controller. This is the second video in our series titled Retro Game and System Maintenance. This video, we're going to use our warm soapy washcloth to go over the cord. We want to get the cord as clean as possible. We do always test our controllers and systems and games before we start the cleaning process. We do this so that we know that we're not wasting any time while we're doing the cleaning. Who wants to clean a controller that you plug it in and it doesn't work, but it looks really nice? So what we're doing here is we're going over the connector port. We want to make sure that we're getting all the little spaces around that, getting it as clean as possible. We inspect the port itself to make sure no pins are broken and that it's getting a good connection. We like to do the cord and the connector first so that we can get it bundled up and out of our way when we take apart the controller. This makes it easier to keep it controlled and out of the way. Now what we're gonna do is we're taking our toothbrush and going over the parts around the controller port to make sure that we're getting all the excess dust and dirt off. Sometimes the toothbrush can reach spots that our washcloth can't. So we like to keep that tool in our arsenal, so to speak. We'll do one more wipe over of the cord and then we'll get it bound up and ready to go. The cord itself, over time, heat will cause it to feel sticky. If you run into this issue, just a little bit of Goo Gone on your washcloth will help eliminate that sticky feeling on the cord. Um, it's a way to make sure the cord's in good shape. So what we're going to do is we're going to get our cord bundled up so that we can start working on the outside, the case of the controller, and we'll get the cord bundled up and out of the way. Bundling the cord's a pretty easy process. We like to just fold it in half and then fold it in half again and then fold it in half again until you get basically the same original folds that were in it when it came out of the package. Just using a rubber band to hold it together. You don't want to tighten the rubber band too much. You don't want to cause any kinks or stress on the cord. So we just get it where you can move it around a little bit. Now it's completely out of the way and we can start working on the outside of the controller. On the outside, you can notice this controller's got quite a bit of dirt on it, but I think most of it'll come off with just that warm soapy washcloth. So what we're doing is we're just basically going over all the little nooks and crannies of the controller. The back side has the Nintendo patent information and the logo. This area, dust can get in there, dirt can get in there, and it can be hard to get out. This particular controller wasn't too bad. I'm able to just use the washcloth, scrubbing and a little bit of elbow grease, and that's coming right off. We will probably go back over it with the toothbrush just to make sure we're getting all the little corners. The back of this controller looks pretty good. Most of that dirt's coming off with just the washcloth. You'll find most of the dirt will come off with the washcloth. We will use a magic eraser if it's got a marker or something on it like that. But for the main part, just some warm soapy water will get everything off the controller. Now we're working on the front of the controller. As we work on the front, you want to take care around these rubber buttons. They're old and they can become brittle, so you want to make sure that you don't crack or chip them. Um, just making sure you're getting all the excess dirt off the outside of the controller before we take it apart and see what's inside. Right here on the edges, sometimes dirt gets in that area. When we take it apart, that'll come clean real easy. We'll show you how to do that. Just making sure you're getting all the little marks and everything. We want it to look as good as new as possible. Now, obviously, this controller's 40 years old, so it's very possible that you won't be able to restore it to original condition, but isn't it nice to play with a controller that you know it has been cleaned and disinfected? All right, so now I think we're gonna go ahead and get to work taking this thing apart. The NES original controller was put together with just six uh, standard Phillips head screws. So they're easy to remove just using a standard Phillips head screwdriver. The holes are kind of small, so you're going to want to find the smallest head that you can for the screwdriver. As I take the screws out, I leave them inside the controller. I'm just loosening it up so that I can keep them all in one spot until I get ready to clean the heads on the screws. This one, when you're when you do it that way, you may find that it'll stick a little bit or you didn't get the screws completely out. That's okay. Don't get frustrated. Just go back and loosen the screws a little further. And if they come out, it doesn't matter. We like to take them out at once. That way we can get them all. We know where they're all at. You see, this one's giving me a little bit of trouble. So we got to go back in and loosen this one right here. And let's see. It looks like it's coming apart. Here we go. Yeah, we've got it apart now. So we're going to take it. We're just going to flip it over on our washcloth. That way all the screws are in one place. I think one of them's trying to escape, but we'll find them. All right. So at Mario Hunters, we like to clean all the screw heads and make sure they're bright and shiny. There's no clean spend that much time cleaning a controller just to have dirty screw heads. This helps make it look more clean and shows that we take that extra time to make sure that our controllers are completely restored. Now, as we take it apart, we notice that the screw holes are kind of dirty. So we're going to take our little Q-tip here and just use our warm soapy washcloth to dampen the Q-tip. Stick it down in the holes and we can get that dirt right out of there. This one really not that bad, but there is definitely some dirt coming off on the Q-tip. So we're just going to make sure we get all of them. Try to get 40 years worth of dirt off of this poor little controller here. As we finish working on the back of this controller, we're gonna double check, look for any excess dirt that we missed or stuff that's being stubborn and hard to come off. Just give it a couple more scrubs. Maybe have to use the toothbrush, come in and get it all cleaned out. The corners are hard to reach, so I'm thinking that we're gonna need to use the toothbrush on this one. We'll just go ahead and wipe everything else off, make sure that we're good. Looks really good from the outside. All right. Get our toothbrush, get this cleaned off, any excess dust or anything. Man, that's really looking good, isn't it? Okay, we got the back pretty much done. So let's go ahead and pull the board out. Now, as we pull the board out, you obviously want to be careful. This is the most sensitive part of the controller. Just trace your cord up. There's two little notches where the cord fits in. We'll pull the board out. As we pull it out, you'll see that the start and select buttons are stuck. And the buttons A and B buttons are also stuck, the rubber for those. That's to be expected after that much time. Um, the board looks really good. It's all those joints are soldered well, everything looks great. Now we start to remove the rubber from the controller, and when you remove the rubber, you're checking to make sure it's not brittle, make sure there's no rips. You can order aftermarket rubber pieces for any of the controllers online, so don't be if there's a break, it's better to replace it. This is in really good shape. If you do feel like they're a little brittle, you can take just a little bit of baby oil and add it to your washcloth, to a separate washcloth, and it will recondition the rubber and it'll keep it going for quite a while. Now the D-pad rubber, this one's pretty dirty, so we're gonna work on it for a little bit. Uh, it's in pretty good shape, so it's not brittle at all. And as stated, we do test all the controllers, so all the directions were working well. Here we're taking out the buttons, cleaning each button individually. As we're working on this part of the controller, just taking out the buttons and cleaning them and we'll work on the D-pad. I'd like to go over our foundation. WarriorPrincesses.org is a foundation created, inspired by my two beautiful granddaughters. Um, it is created to raise awareness to Dravet syndrome. Dravet syndrome is a rare and aggressive form of epilepsy. We are using warriorprincesses.org to get the word out. We are trying to help other families that are dealing with this. It's a hard road to go. Um, I suggest if you haven't heard of Dravet syndrome before, check out warriorprincesses.org. You can find out all types of information. You can check on the girls, see daily updates on them. Um, it's a it's a way to get the word out about this devastating form of epilepsy. Now we're back to cleaning this thing up and getting this D-pad cleaned out. There's a lot of in these corners here. You should be able to get it with your washcloth. You may need to use the toothbrush. Well, actually, I would just suggest using the toothbrush as you go over it, just to make sure that you're getting all the dirt out of those corners. Uh, it's kind of hard to get those. So we're going to take the toothbrush, scrub, get those corners, get it looking nice. You'll notice that we spend a lot of time on these controllers. We like our customers to get the best products possible. There are a lot of companies out there that buy and resell games and buy and resell controllers, and they don't necessarily do more than a wipe down. Um, we we find that our customers are more satisfied. As a matter of fact, some of the companies out there actually buy their products from us because they know they don't have to clean them. We are launching this video series to promote MarioHunters.com, where you can find all types of rare video games. We also sell different types of toys and hobbies, the Hot Wheels collections and Funko Pops and all type of Bakugan and Pokemon cards. Just anything that we can find that's rare that people are looking for. You can go to MarioHunters.com and find it. We're also going to be releasing a few other video series over the next couple months. We will be doing like hunting videos where we're out in the wild picking up video games and going to garage sales and things like that. We will be launching we're toying around with launching like a game review series, or maybe just like top 10 lists with each system. That's a good idea. We might stick with that. All right. Well, we've got this thing pretty well cleaned up now. We're going to go around the edges. We're cleaning the inside of the controller now. We've gotten the buttons and the D-pad and all the rubber clean. So now we're going to work on the inside of the controller. I showed you earlier where the dust and dirt builds up between the crease on the sides of the controller. That's what we're working on here. It's This controller is actually in pretty good shape. So it's not going to take much to get it cleaned and back to its original condition. We're just going to go back over these edges, make sure that there's no dirt. The inside of the controller is in really good shape. There's not a whole lot of dirt on the inside. The color is really good on this controller. Just go around the edges, any extra, get it scraped off and dry everything off to make sure that we're not leaving any moisture inside the controller when we put it back together. Now we'll work on the top or the front side of the controller. The inside of this is really not in that bad a shape. We're going to go around the edges. Um, Obviously this part of the controller is more intricate than the backside, so you're going to have to get in there a little bit, and you'll want to use your toothbrush at some point probably and get the little extra parts that you can't reach with your washcloth. Um, this is the color on this is so amazing. I'm so impressed with how well this controller's held up. We're going around the edge inside where the D-pad is, and that keeps the D-pad clean and functioning well. Um, a lot of times you'll see someone has spilled a drink in there and it's sticky and nasty. Obviously, if you can take it apart immediately, that's the best way to prevent that. Now, on the buttonholes, if you just stick your washcloth in the buttonhole until it gets crammed in there and move it around, that should come off pretty easily. Sometimes you'll need to use your Q-tips or your toothbrush to get in there. But this controller, like I said, this is in pretty good shape. Uh, Using the washcloth seems to be doing the job here. You'll want to go through here and the start and select buttons. You do the same thing. You'll take your washcloth. Um, this one really looks good. We're going to go through, use our toothbrush, and go back over everything. Make sure we've gotten all the extra dirt, all the dust out. Uh, Make sure there's no moisture inside. Outside looks great. I think we can start putting this thing back together. Now, the buttons on the NES controller are interchangeable. There's the A and B can be either one. The start and select buttons only go in one way. The D-pad can go in any direction. There's no notch or anything like on other generations. You just replace the rubber over the D-pad, and then we'll replace the rubber over the buttons. Uh, as we get that put back together, we can start looking at putting the board back together, make sure everything's in there correctly. Now, as we put the board back on, you want to set it in there carefully. And we did talk about the two little notches where the cord goes, and you'll see those right here. Once you get it in there, it's all ready to go back together. Make sure it's in there tight, nice and snug. And put the back on, and then we'll replace our screws. You'll feel it almost click together once you've got it back together correctly. Go back over it and make sure there's no extra dirt. Man, this thing really looks good. Um, I do see I do see one little spot that we may have to come back to, but we're gonna go ahead and put the screws back in before we do our final wipe down. Uh, the screws, as I tell you on the games, and I'll tell you on everything that you work with on these old systems, when you're putting them back in and you start to feel resistance, go ahead and stop. This is old plastic. It becomes brittle over time. It becomes brittle with heat. If you over tighten the screws, you can crack the controller, you can crack the game, you can crack the system. So as soon as you start to feel resistance, you can stop. There, it is as tight as it needs to be. So we'll get all these screws back in and we'll do our final wipe down and make sure this thing looks as close to perfect as possible. That's what we're shooting for. We know we're not going to get perfection on a 40-year-old controller, but if we can get it as close as possible, then we feel good about it. Now, this controller, it's going to sell for probably around $20. We sell controllers individually and we sell them in bundles with the systems. We always have extra controllers available on MarioHunters.com. So if you don't need a new system, but you do need a new controller and you like sticking with the Nintendo OEM brand and you want to buy from a company that you know is cleaning the controller before you ever get it, who's testing it before you ever get it, just go to MarioHunters.com. Chances are we've got the controller you're looking for. Now we've got this thing back together. It's looking good. I think we're gonna have to. I think we may have to go back over it. Yeah, we're just gonna wipe it down, make sure everything looks good. I saw a spot on the back that I think I'm gonna spend a little extra time on, just because I like it to look as perfect as possible. Yeah, we're gonna have to use the magic eraser. Now, a magic eraser on the NES controller, you want to remember to spray your alcohol directly on the magic eraser, not on the controller. You want to scrub lightly. Any marks that aren't coming off with the warm soapy washcloth, if you just do a light scrub with the magic eraser, you don't have to worry about any discoloring or any residue left. And when using the magic eraser on anything, immediately wipe it down because it will leave a white residue. And if you wipe it down immediately, you can avoid that. So we've got our controller wiped down. We're gonna go back, look at those edges. Yeah, everything looks good. We'll just go back over this. And then let's see. I think we're just about done with this guy. All right. Well, let's wipe it down. Dry it off, and let's see how she looks. Beautiful. Now, be sure to check back next week for the next video in our series, Retro Game and System Maintenance. Mario Hunters, mariohunters.com. We're bringing retro gaming to the future.